just coming to this point where I am going to do more like I would say both like a mental reset and a hard reset. It's really getting those things out of my heart, those negative, painful things, out of my mind, and just giving myself time to breathe. Because especially when you have went through just a hard moment in your life, for me, I have been transparent somewhat about, the things that I have experienced, doing this, relocation to a whole new state. And it has not been the best experience, but I also know how it had weighed down on me to the point that I was getting stressed about things and not really paying attention to my body as I need to, be paying attention to it. Just allowing things just to just rest on my mind, rest in my heart, and not really sitting down processing it. And I do understand that sometimes it's hard to do that because I guess we, I guess as people sometimes we think because we're strong in an area that we think everybody else is strong in that same area. And it's not always the case. And we also feel like we're weak in the area. We just assume that nobody else is dealing with that same area. And we're the only person out of place. And it's really just learning how to find people to be open with. Now, yes, for me, that I always believe in prayer, that there are things that I would talk to God about. I would never talk with anybody outside of that. I would never share with anybody because there are things in my heart I don't think everybody needs to know. Now, of course, I believe being transparent. I believe in being real people, but I also know there's things that it needs to stay in my prayer closet. It needs to stay there, and because I know God will help me get through it, and help me to really deal with it, process it in the way I need to process it, so I can move forward. Because that is the thing too. If you have already dealt with it, already processed it, then don't bring it up no more. That's if you already passed it still, did what you had to do. Maybe you went to therapy, maybe you did had a conversation with that person. Whatever you have done to just try and move past it, don't bring it up. Let it die. Let it stay where it was at and move forward. And how difficult it may sound, to hear that, we all have to come to a place in our life we have to move forward. So yes, I do believe in people taking time out to process things and have like a mental reset, meaning getting those thoughts out their mind, allowing their mind to breathe, allowing the heart to breathe as well, and allow yourself to let those things go. Because I think I did say this before, in which I am learning, the feelings need to go first. They do. Because when we try to walk in them, that's when trouble comes, and that's when we end up making more pain for ourselves. That's when the bitterness, starts to make a hole in our heart. That's when rejection still gonna have a hole in us. That's when shame gonna have a hole in us. So we have to allow the feelings to go. Have to allow it to go. Like it's okay to get in a room by yourself and just cry it out. Just cry it out. It's okay to cry. It's not a sin to do that. It's okay to do that. You don't want to get to the pity party. And that's what I believe about pity party. A pity party to me is just someone that ain't gonna get to the truth. They're not gonna get to the truth of what's wrong. They're not gonna get to the truth of if they want to be free for something. It's always gonna be like a circle, like a blame game. You ain't get to the truth to it. And sometimes they don't even show tears. You just keep complaining about this and that and not really getting to the root of things. And that's how I look at it as pity party. And even though I still wrestle with this in my heart about showing emotions and expressing that, because, now I know it's not just the black community, but I know in the black community, from my own personal experience, is that we don't really talk about how we need to process hard things. It's more like get over it. Don't keep talking about that, pretend like it didn't happen, but it happened, and we're all human beings. And that's the thing. We are human beings. We all gonna have feelings. We all gonna have emotions, but we also got to learn how to put them in the right place and not allow those things to overtake us and overtake our lives where we're just making more crazy decisions and more bad decisions. So it's okay to take time out and just to breathe. Give yourself time to heal. Give yourself time to process those things. Give yourself time to really get in this position where you can think clearly because you don't never want to make a decision. with a clouded mindset. Trying to get the word out. You don't want to just have like this blurry vision and just everything just clouded. Like I'm not really seeing clearly. I make this decision because I'm mad at this person, or I'm sad that this happened. But just allow the feelings to go. Allow yourself to see clearly so you can make the right decision. And yes, it still is a process in itself. It's just taking it one day at a time. And I'm just sharing this because I know the things that I've dealt with in the last few years, and just having a conversation with my own dad about how I was feeling right now and where I was at, and talking with him. And what I didn't like about my dad is that when you're done with something, you need to be done with it. And I think that's more of his mindset. Like when you're done, be done with it. Like it's time to move forward, time to move on, make the preparation, make the plans that you need to make, and just do what you have to do. Make up your mind. That's really what was like the conclusion of our conversation. Is just make a decision. Make a decision. Make a decision. Are you going to find another job? Are you going to move to a different city? Are you going to cut off that friendship, cut off that relationship? Make a decision because that does help. Your mind as well, that heart. Just now. It can be able to breathe. You can be able to get clear and give yourself like this sense of peace now that I'm moving forward. I'm actually making the steps. I processed this thing. I really thought about it. I got myself a clear mindset about it. And now I'm finna move forward and do what I have to do. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have a certain timeline on it. I think for some of us, it's good to have a timeline because we know how we can stay so focused on stuff. And if you know you're a person that hold grudges, you know that yes, you gotta get the movement on that. You gotta learn how to let stuff go. You don't want that to just to I guess to put you in this place of bitterness because you keep holding on to stuff. You gotta learn to let this stuff go and say to yourself, hey, it's time to drop this out my hand. I got to this date. We're gonna think about this. We're gonna deal with it. And after this date, we're making a decision. We're moving on. Something like that. Now, I'm not saying it's like a recommendation, but it's just how I think about it. And I know at other times you do have to take your time and make those decisions and not rush yourself in it. So it just always just depends on the person. But either way to go, we still gotta deal with things. It still gotta process it. So hopefully that gives someone some insight, some encouragement, and just to don't get down on yourself about the experience that you had, but give yourself some grace, deal with it so you can move on and not allow it to steal any more of your life away from you. But take the time to process it, deal with it so you can go forward and really experience some new things, some good things. And that's what I'm planning for 2025. Experience some really good things and put myself in a better position that I have been in the last few years of my life. So that's what I say.